Okay, Shalom everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Islam to all the Moors. It's good to be back. Feels like I've been gone for a long time. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me make sure we have a signal. 1 moment. Mic check, mic check. Oh boy. Always a problem, y'all. Mic check, mic check. See, let me show y'all. Y'all might not believe me. So y'all see that? I never have a problem until I start live streaming. Y'all see that? Mic check, mic check. So I can't open. It's not opening. Doggone shame. You see, it doesn't show. It doesn't show on my. It doesn't show that I'm live, y'all. Do y'all see it? You see the censoring that they do? This is my. This is the home page of Zion Law School YouTube channel. Hold on. This is the home page. Y'all see it's not there? The live stream isn't showing up. Y'all see the shadow banning? So let me show you on my live. So here it is on my live tab. But look, the link, it hasn't been activated. Do y'all see that? I'm tapping it. Do y'all see it? I'm tapping it. The link isn't activated. That says upcoming. That's not this. Okay. And here's the last video that I did. Y'all see the shadow banning? So I don't know if it's live or not. Did you see my connection's working, right? No problem with my connection. So let me give it a second, y'all. It's not even showing. It's not even showing in my notifications that I'm live. All right. Let me switch to a different account and see what will happen. I'm going to switch to another account. Let's see. Yeah, still not in my notification. Let me switch to another account. Hold on, y'all. So y'all subscribe to my North YouTube channel, okay? Subscribe to that. Because that's where I'm going to be doing the rest of the Celestial Ship of the North. So y'all can see, look at this. Oh, there we are. Okay, it switched. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Y'all see that? Never problems until I start trying to live stream. Hold on. Mic check, mic check. Y'all see the shadow banning? Did everybody see that? Look at that. Hold on. Let's see. Mic check, mic check. All right. Mic check, mic check. Okay. So it doesn't show on my channel that I'm live, but on North when I checked it. So let me keep it here for a minute. So y'all ready to get started? Mic check, mic check. So it doesn't show on my... All right, so let's pick it up. Okay, y'all. So this is lesson number 7. Lesson number 7 of the celestial ship of the North. So here we are. This is volume 1. The author is E. Valencia Straiton. When I was elementary school, junior high school, we had a friend. Her name was Valencia. She had a brother named John. Was it John or Johnny? I don't remember his name. Long time ago. But that was the only Valencia I had ever met. So let's pick it up, yo. So here we are. We're going to pick it up on page 21, okay? The second paragraph from the bottom. I'm gonna pick it up right here. All right, y'all? So let's make it do what it do. From the hidden sun of the solar regime and through the knowledge of the evolutionists. Now, I already have a problem with this because one, evolution is contrary to the laws of thermodynamics. Laws of thermodynamics state, and nobody argues the laws of thermodynamics in science. I believe it's the first law, states that everything is going to high complexity, perfection, to imperfection. Okay? Perfection to imperfection, to state it in as simple terms as possible. All right? So things start off highly complex, and then they deteriorate over time. Clear? This is not what we see in evolution. Evolution is the exact opposite. It says things start from a very simple place, not even a single cell organism. Okay, and then they become more complex over time, more perfect over time. That is contrary to nature. Okay, y'all? It is contrary to nature, but it is absolutely necessary for the hybrids to pull the wool over your head. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So what did they do? This is nothing but the Hermetic law of opposites. They're using it against you. Right? They told a lie, it's the opposite of the truth. Y'all see it? They just flipped it. Flipped the script on you. That's all. So using the laws of nature against us. I hope everyone can see that. So from the hidden SUN sun, the solar regime, and through the knowledge of the evolutionists came the cycles of time. This is complicated. Let me explain to you why. It says from the hidden sun. What's the hidden sun sun? What's the solar regime? As a matter of fact, let me look it up. Maybe there's a nuance of the word that I'm missing. Hold on.
I'm also like that. Because talking and changing. Who's the more power? Three.
Okay, so regime, noun, a government, especially an oppressive and undemocratic one. So you know that's not true, right? Because all democratic governments are oppressive. Okay? It's mob rule. 51% wins and 49% loses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? So regime, the second meaning, a usually heavy-handed administration or group in charge of an organization. So from the hidden sun of the solar regime of the heavy-handed administration or group in charge of the solar zodiac system. Y'all see it? Well, let's continue. A way of organizing or managing something, a system. So this would be, in this case, the solar regime could be also keeping time by the sun. The solar zodiac projection. Those beings who keep time by the sun, and they were heavy-handed, a heavy-handed administration or group. Heavy-handed, why? Because they brought the solar zodiac projection in through warfare and violence. Do y'all see it? Everybody see that? So from the hidden sun of the solar regime and through the knowledge of the evolutionists. Okay? So who are the evolutionists? Who are they? The evolutionists, of course. Of course, it would be Darwin and his boys, right? Darwin and his crew, Charles Darwin. Okay, so from them came the cycles of time. I don't buy that. Unless the author gives us a clear definition about, it says here, from the hidden sun. What is that? Who is that? Of the solar regime? If it's not what we just discussed, who and what is it? And through the knowledge of the evolutionists. Who are the evolutionists? Specify. Came the cycles of time. Now we know that's not true, right? Because in the earlier pages, we see that the cycles of time came from the mother, as a matter of fact, the mother of revolutions on page 8. The abyss in English is a name of the North Celestial Pole, and the original mother of this abyss, the abyss would be the celestial ocean. Okay, y'all? Boundless space. Okay? Which was space, was called Typhoon, the mother of beginnings, the mother of the fields of heaven, the mother of revolutions, time cycles, or cycles of time, as well as the mother of gods and men. What does it mean by the mother of gods and men? It means all the mythologies that you have ever heard of have their origin here. In other words, they're remixes or just by remix, I mean lies, right? And all those lies are based upon these stories. Do y'all see where my finger is pointing? Time cycles. Okay? So the time cycles were around before the hybrids ever came into power and before the solar zodiac projection had ever been heard of. Nobody had ever thought of the solar zodiac projection, which is only approximately 6,000 years old. Right, y'all? Okay? Here we're talking about tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, if not more, an uncountable, an undeterminable amount of time passed by before this solar regime could have ever come into play. And we were already dealing with time, telling time by the celestial North Pole. Okay, y'all? So when we read, we have to read critically and suspiciously. Okay? And by the way, just because someone gives, let's say, just because an author gives something up, gives some information up, that doesn't mean they're giving the whole story up. Doesn't mean they didn't throw a curveball in there. We're still obligated to use our critical thinking minds, our faculty of critical thinking and analytical thinking, okay? So unless this author specifies exactly what is meant by a hidden sun of the solar regime and knowledge of the evolutionists, unless she specifies exactly, specifically, who or what these are, we can only go by the dictionary definitions. Okay, y'all? I hope y'all agree. If not, let me know what you think. Put it in the comment sections. Okay, so next sentence. We're on page 21. The Egyptian god Tat, T-A-H-T, the moon god, later the planet Mercury, and Seb, S-E-B, the star god, later the planet Jupiter, were said to be born as timekeepers or watchers in the heavens. Okay, so now we're dealing with gods, right? So if we're dealing with gods right now, that puts us where? In the Middle Ages. Because God didn't come into existence until the Middle Ages. Now, if you want to talk about the concept or this notion of God, then you'd have to look at the ancient Egyptians. Listen to this. This is on page 14. The Egyptians symbolically named God, so we're dealing with two dispensations of time. God, Germanic, Middle Ages. God is the modern day spelling of the deity Odin, who is also Woden. Okay, so the Egyptians symbolically named God the quote-unquote ancient darkness. Can you see darkness? Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's concrete. Y'all see it? Everybody see it? This is on page 14. They were not dealing with gods, devils, and demons. Everybody see that? I hope y'all can see it. It looks blurry from my point of view. Hold on. There we are. Do y'all see it? Everybody see that? Okay. Ancient darkness was the concrete term that they are rendering God. Let me say it again. The ancient Kemetic people spoke about ancient darkness. And then that was translated or rendered as quote unquote God, who is Odin, the dramatic medieval deity Odin, who is also Woden. Okay? Clear? So let's go back to page 21. All right. So the next sentence. These deities, we're talking about the Egyptian god That, who's the moon god, who later became Mercury. Also Seb, who is the star god, who later became Jupiter. All right. So these two were said to be born as timekeepers or watchers in the heaven. So actually, if we wanted to go back to it, this takes us back to the origins of gods and men that we just talked about, right? On page 11, as well as the mother of gods and men. There we are, all right? These made-up stories or remixed stories. Clear, scholars? Let's keep going. They were types of lowercase gods, types of gods, and angels. Angels are angles of light or angels. All right? Angel. Y'all know A-N-G? Angels. Angles of light. Okay? So already we're getting into geometry, but that's another topic. But when history began, that's when his story began. Whose story? The hybrid troglodyte niggers. So when their story began, these types were transformed into demons. How? The Hermetic law, the great law of polarity. Just flip it. Okay? Make what's good bad. Make what's bad good. It's an abuse of the Hermetic law of polarity. All right? But when history began, when his story began, these types were transformed into demons. Who? The timekeepers, the watchers in heaven, who are what? The Egyptian quote-unquote god Tat, T-H-A-T, who became a moon god, later became the planet Mercury, and Seb, the star god, who later became Jupiter. Everybody see that? It's an abuse of the Hermetic law of polarity. They flipped the script on you, and then created all kinds of stories, mythologies, biographies, scared the death out of you, and then used your own creative faculty, let's call it your, connotatively speaking, your God faculty, your ability to manifest what you think and feel, so that whatever beliefs you have, they appear in your life. Because remember who we are. We are thought made manifest from the soil. Okay, y'all? Also remember the Hermetic law of gender. The great I am that exists outside of the body, the mind, which is the will, which is in scripture, the great I am, never changes, right? Which in scripture would be the Father, and your subconscious mind would be likened to the Holy Spirit, which creates at the will of the Father. But if your knowledge of self, if your knowledge of your family, your ancient foremothers and forefathers, Exodus chapter 20, verse 12, is not there, then the concept of the cuckoo, well, not concept, but the phenomena of the cuckoo bird laying a thought egg in your subconscious mind, in your nest, and then your mind gets hijacked, or at least your thoughts rather. Your thoughts get hijacked. And you can be, you will be hypnotized, programmed to do and be things that you're not. Y'all understand? So they're using natural phenomena, natural law against you. And it's only possible because you're not aware of it, because of ignorance. Okay, y'all? But you keep following along with me, you won't have that problem if you choose not to have it, okay? So just remember, whatever you think, whatever you believe, rather, your mind actually brings it alive. That's why these devils and all of this stuff exist in your mind, and they can affect you because you create them. And you create the conditions and you attribute it to them subconsciously. Y'all see it? So the great I am and the law of your ancestors. Okay? The great I am and the law of your ancestors. That's the masculine mental gender. Subconscious mind is the feminine mental gender. Clear? All right. Let's continue. In the early beginnings, types and symbols were necessities of daily usage in the life of primitive man. I disagree with that. I disagree with it. How does this author know? Was she there? No, she was not. But what can I say to try to recover her? Simply that our ancestors' paradigm was concrete, okay? We spoke in concrete terms. If you don't know what concrete and abstract are, subscribe to 101 Ancient Ibriath course, okay, y'all? The link is in the description area of my videos, not this one, I haven't put it in there yet. But just click on videos on Zion Law School YouTube channel, and you'll see the link. And then you can learn about concrete and abstract. Okay, y'all? So page 21 continue. The element of fire, the fire that vivifies, adds life to, intensifies the quality of life, was called H-E-H, which is a serpent, or which was symbolic of a serpent. That's concrete, y'all, right? Fire and a serpent are concrete. The goddess Hea, H-E-A, was the earlier Kifa, Kava, Hova. So Kifa and Kava, those are Eve, if I remember correctly. And of course, Hova would be the tetragrammaton deity, right? Yes. So, or Eve, Hova is the feminine side of Jehovah. Hova is the feminine side of Jehovah. So here you see they are playing games with the Hermetic law of gender. Okay? Because we are talking about natural phenomena, natural forces, natural law, and celestial things, not flesh and blood. Okay? And the fact that they're talking about goddesses and gods tells us what dispensation of time we're dealing with. In my opinion, gods, when you start hearing gods, you're talking about medieval times. Medieval. Okay? That's my opinion. I know that's not what most people think, but that's what I think. Because my opinion is what we're reading about ancient Egypt and all of it wasn't thousands and thousands of years ago. It was very recent. Very, maybe a couple hundred years ago. Okay, y'all? Very near our time. But anyway, let's continue. That's just my opinion. The Akkadian Hea was a god of wisdom. So feminine, wisdom, Holy Spirit in the Bible, right? The repository of all wisdom. So remember, all of these stories about gods, devils, and demons have their origin in the celestial ship of the north, which talks about the 7 Hermetic laws the Great Bear, the ship of the North, celestial phenomena, and natural law. Okay, these have been remixed into all the various gods, devils, and demons. And of course, the gods, devils, and demons, their names change depending on the alleged era of time, and the stories change, but the essence stayed the same depending on where on planet Earth the stories are. Okay, so there's variety or variation, probably according to the cultural context. Y'all see it? So let's continue. Last word on page 21. These all meet in the first mother, Typhon. And among her many types, see, among her many types was that of a serpent. Serpents are concrete. You can see them, you can taste them. If you eat it, you can taste them, you can touch it, right? You can hear them. They're concrete. Okay, He was an element of fire, typified the sun sun in its motion without visible means. Okay, y'all? Like the gliding of a serpent. Yeah, we see the sun moving, but we don't see any type of propulsion, right? Like you see a plane, you see the fumes coming out, you don't see a rope. It just seems to be moving, gliding along like a snake, all right, y'all? Gliding along like a snake, and then it's, of course, gliding along what? The ecliptic, the apparent path of the sun, okay, y'all? The sine wave. Anyway, let's continue. Breathing or heaving as the motion of the serpent became a type of visibility. Kefa, K-E-F-A, who is also spelled Hefa or Hefa, H-E-F-A, Eve. Okay, Kefa and Hefa, that's Eve. Eve became the great serpent of life. The serpent woman, goddess of gestation. This is Eve. This is Eve in the book of Genesis. Okay, y'all? So let's keep it going. The mythology of Israel begins, as we see, with the cult of Hova. Wow. Did y'all hear that? The mythology of Israel, Isis, Ra, and El, begins, as we see, with the cult of Hova. So let's look up cult, y'all. Hold on. Let's just make it clear. Let's just make this clear. With the cult of Hova, wow, I typed that in and I'm getting everything about Jehovah's Witnesses. All I'm getting is Jehovah's Witness. Let me go to Google Scholar, y'all. Let's check out Google Scholar, see what we get. Cult of Hova. Put that in Google Scholar and see what we're working with. Nothing. Jehovah's Witnesses. Can you believe this? Nothing at all. Only Jehovah's Witnesses stuff, y'all. So let me put in here Egypt. See if it makes a difference. Nope. Well, y'all, they don't make it easy. Oh well, nothing comes up in Google Scholar. So let's look at the Strong's number 1943 Hova. See what we come up with, all right? Strong's number 1943 Hova. A ruin, disaster, feminine noun, a ruin, disaster. Y'all see that? Okay, remember, they're using the Hermetic law of polarity. They're abusing it. Everybody see it? Clear? I'm curious now. Hold on. Disaster. Let's see. Another form of hava, which means ruin, translated as mischief or rendered as mischief. Y'all see it? Everybody see that? So this is a perversion of the Hermetic law of polarity. Anyway, let's keep going, y'all. The mythology of Israel begins, as we see, with the cult of what? Hova? The cult of mischief? The cult of ruin? The cult of disaster? Do y'all see that? That might hurt some people's feelings, but hey, it is what it is. Strong's number 1943, Hova. We're on page 22. Okay? So the mythology of Isis, Ra, and El begins, as we see, with the cult of ruin, with the cult of disaster, with the cult of mischief. Who was Eve, the Typhonian mother of Sut, also called Seth? Y'all got that? Hold on. We'll do it one more again, and then we'll move on. The mythology, not the history, the mythology of Israel begins, as we see, with the cult of Hova, who was Eve. So Hova was Eve, the Typhonian mother of Sut. So now Eve is supposed to be, or is a remix rather, of the celestial ship of the north, the Great Mother, who is pure and innocent and good and everything beautiful in reality. But they perverted it, twisted the story upside down. Abuse of the law of polarity. Do y'all see it? Okay? So Hova, who was Eve, the Typhonian mother of Sut, also called Seth. All right, y'all? I hope everyone sees that. completely destroying her or misrepresenting her in her original form. There was nothing evil about Hathor. Nothing, everything was good and beautiful. The author says that. Okay? So let's continue. Let's continue. The serpent belongs to an early representation of the mother, the great mother Hathor, and followed the time when she was known by the type of the hippopotamus, and coincides with the change, listen, and coincides with the change in Israel from the worship of the north. No, they were not worshiping. We read that earlier in this book. Okay? We read it earlier in the book. In fact, let me see if I can find it for y'all. Here we are, page 13. Hers, this is the great mother. Oh, so of the good typhoon, not mischievous, not disastrous, not a ruin. Of the good typhoon, it was said, however, quote unquote, hers is a figure so ancient that it belongs to a typology which preceded eschatology and mythology, and of an order set in heaven for, now this is page 14, for use, of an order set in heaven for use. What use? Keeping time and geometry. Also prophesying, which means what? Reading the stars the same way you read a book. A skill set. A skill set. Okay? If you say reading a book is devil worship, well, shame on you. Okay? Listen. For use and not for worship. Type of time and force. Force is energy, the Hermetic laws. And not for beauty. Page 14. Okay, so y'all, when we read, we have to pay attention to the details. Okay? We have to pay attention to the details. Y'all pause it on the replay if y'all didn't catch that. So let's go back. Page 22. Hold on, I lost my spot. I lost my spot. Lost my spot, y'all. Where am I? Oh, I skipped the whole paragraph. Well, not a whole paragraph. Let me go back to what I skipped. The serpent fire of the occultist is said to lie at the base of the spine, coiled like a serpent. The Lord said unto Moses, quote unquote, make thee a seraph, which means a fiery serpent. Seraph, oh, we covered this the last video. Seraph signifies a flame, and Ref, R-E-F, is the serpent of life. Seraph signifies a flame, but what else is a seraph, y'all? A medieval seraph. What's a seraph? Now remember perversion of the Hermetic law of polarity. Seraph, S-E-R-F. Serf, noun, a member of the lowest feudal class, legally bound to a landed estate and required to perform labor for the lord of that estate in exchange for a personal allotment of land. You may as well throw sharecropping in there. In agricultural definition number 2, in agricultural labor under various similar systems, especially in Russia and Eastern Europe in the 17 and 1800s. This is coming out of Merriam-Webster. A serf is a servant or laborer of olden times who was treated as a part of the land worked on. So this is Goyim, right? Genesis chapter 1, Goyim. So serf, a member of a servile feudal class bound to land and subject to the will of its owner, a debtor. A debtor. These are the people in the outer house or outside of the house that JC spoke about, right? Remember, JC said he spoke to the people in parables because if they ever perceive, although having eyes to see, if they ever perceive, having ears to hear, if they ever started to understand, they would what, y'all? They'd have an opportunity to repent and be saved. So JC said that's why I'm talking to them in parables, which means he doesn't want them to repent. Why? Because he doesn't want them to be saved. He wants them to continue as debtors in the curses. Deuteronomy chapter 28. Hold on one second, y'all. So I hope y'all can see what's happening here. Okay? I hope you can see what's happening here. All right? The Lord said unto Moses, make thee a seraph, which means a fiery serpent. Seraph signifies a flame. And Ref, R-E-F, is the serpent of life. The Lord said unto Moses. That's deep, y'all. So here we're talking about serfdom, S-E-R-F, serfdom, feudalism. This is how our birthright has and is being stolen from us through a feudalism system called democracy, taking place on our land at the Almoroccan Empire in North America, okay, etc. Clear, y'all? Clear? The mythology of Israel, so we're talking about the mythology, not the history. The mythology, not the history, of Isis, Ra, and El begins, as we will see. So the author is going to present the case with his evidence and facts, with the cult, with the religion, with the cult. Remember, the religion comes from the mythology. With the cult of Hova, who was Eve, the Typhonian mother of Sut, who is Eve, who is a remixed story of the Typhonian mother, who is the mother of Sut, S-U-T. Sut is the first entity created that had a predominance of masculine mental gender energy. It is not a flesh and blood person, okay? Also called Seth in your Bible. The serpent belongs to an early representation of the mother and followed the time, followed means came after, and followed the time when the Typhonian mother, Hathor, when Hathor was known by the type of the hippopotamus. In other words, she was represented concretely as a hippopotamus. Just a concrete representation. Symbolism, y'all. And coincides or happened at the same time as and coincides with the change in Israel, Isis, Ra, and El, from the worship of the north, not the worship of the north, but by keeping time by the north and following the instructions of the ancient foremothers and forefathers, which was the north. And what, y'all? The mindset, having the mindset of their ancient foremothers and forefathers who kept time by the celestial north and south poles. Their head, they were standing erect, right? Their head, their mindset was the north celestial pole, and their feet, the south celestial pole. And actually, I read in, well, I'll come back to it. But Gerald Massey says that the celestial south pole started out as principles, and the celestial north pole, primordial matter. So his head is in the beginning. His mindset is in nature, natural laws and natural phenomena. He's in reality. And his feet, he's standing on principles. Right? I'm getting this from C.M. Bay, volume 2, page 38. When the Moor stands erect, his feet are at a 90-degree angle of his previous position when he was lying down on his back, dead, in a dead state. Okay, y'all? That's what I'm talking about. His head becomes the north celestial pole. This is in the Clock of Destiny, volume 2, and his feet become the south celestial pole, and the south celestial pole, according to our ancient foremothers and forefathers, was principles. And then that story was changed, remixed into spirituality, which means religion. Okay, y'all got it? Clear? All right. So let's continue. I got that from Gerald Massey. I'm trying to remember the name of the book. Natural Genesis. I think it's Natural Genesis. So anyway, all right. So this coincides with the time. This coincides with the change in Israel from worship of the north. Let's correct that. From having the mindset of their ancient foremothers and forefathers, standing erect, their mind in the north, their head represents the north celestial pole, and their feet represents the south celestial pole. So the mindset, natural law, natural phenomena, and then the feet, universal principles, right? The universal principles, love, my brain is frozen. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, all right? So let's keep going. Okay? And the stars, so the mindset of the celestial north and the stars, to what, y'all? To that instituted by Moses in the wilderness. Well, what was it that Moses instituted in the wilderness? Let's continue, quote unquote. And the manna fed to the children of the wilderness is emblematic of feminine reckoning and rule. So the children of Israel, as the story goes, they ate manna in the wilderness. Emblematic of feminine reckoning and rule. And, so here's the second point, and the angel's food supplied by the genetrix, this would be the great mother, the celestial ship of the north, Hathor. Okay, so the angel's food supplied by the genetrix from the gynoecium above to the children below. So what is it saying? They ate, or they were given knowledge, or celestial knowledge. This is what he's talking about, the manna. Quote unquote, man did eat angels' food. It's coming from Psalms LXX. VIII LX. I think that's, I don't remember, I think that's 40. So 50 LX 40 X 50 V5 58 verse 25. I need to check it because I don't remember. Which was the, listen y'all, which was the bread of the mighty, meaning that celestial knowledge, which originated at this northern point in the heavens. The northern point, that's the Garden of Eden. That's the celestial North Pole. Y'all see it? That's the celestial North Pole. But let's go back. Let's go back. Remember, y'all, it says the serpent belongs to an early representation of the mother and followed the time, came after the time when the celestial mother was known by the type of the hippopotamus. So first she was known as a hippopotamus. And then after that, she became known as a serpent. Hathor, the celestial mother, the ship of the north, became known as a serpent, okay? And coincides, so when she was known as a serpent, this was happening, or she was known as a serpent at the time when Israel changed. From here it says, worshiping the north. When Israel stopped worshiping the north, in other words, when Israel changed its mindset from that of its ancient foremothers and forefathers, Israel changed its mindset. This is what the author is saying. The mindset was no longer the celestial north. It's no longer that. Okay? When Israel no longer worshiped the north and the stars, to that instituted by Moses in the wilderness. Well, what did Moses institute in the wilderness? Well, Aries. Aries the ram. So when our mindset is in Aries the ram, that's the Lamb of God. That's religion. Remember from CM Bay, Volume 2, page 38? I'm not going to read it again. I don't want to bore y'all. I've read it 1,000,000 times. But y'all can get it here on page 38. I'll show it. Y'all can read it yourself. Unless you give me a special request. If you give me a special request, I'll read it. Because I quite enjoy it. Okay, so what I'm getting from this is that Israel The mythology of Israel begins when Moses puts them in religion. Okay? When Moses directs them into worshiping Aries. Which is the Lamb of God. Now, of course, this is different from what you would learn if you study astrotheology. Okay, the story that you'll learn if you start to look into astrotheology is that when Moses brought them out of the wilderness, the Egyptians were still worshiping the bull, Taurus the bull, right? The zodiacal year was Taurus the bull. Moses brought them out, recognizing that the zodiacal age had changed. So he told the people, forget about the bull, forget about Apis. The new zodiacal age is Aries, right? Hence the blowing of the shofar, so on and so forth. But that story fails to tell, at least from the point of view of the autochthonous Moors, that Moses had put us into religion, a religious mindset. I'm not saying whether this story is true or not. I'm just telling you the story. Clear? Clear? Our people were put into a religious mindset. Remember, the paragraph begins here. The mythology of Israel begins, as we see, with the cult of Hava, who was Eve, etc., 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 and coincides with the change in Israel from the worship of the north. That's the mindset. The mindset was taken away or out of the north and the stars. So they no longer had the mindset of their ancient foremothers and forefathers, which is what the Prophet Noble Ali told us we need to return to, which is true religion. Y'all got that? A binding back to the instructions of your ancient foremothers and forefathers that are a reflection of and in harmony with nature and natural law. Or let me just say with natural law. Y'all get it? That's true religion. Okay, binding back to that. Moses put the house of Yasharallah into religion, according to the story. Is it clear, y'all? According to the story. Now remember, we're talking about mythology. Religion always follows mythology. It doesn't happen the other way. Mythology doesn't follow religion. And mythology follows the celestial ship of the north. All right? The stories that we told, the concrete stories that we created and told to describe nature, the Hermetic laws and celestial phenomena. Okay? It all begins there, and the mythology is a remix of that, and the religion is a remix of the mythology across the different eras of time, across cultures, across religions. Y'all got it? Across all these solar religions. Y'all got it? All right? Okay. Anyway, let's keep it going. Next paragraph. Let me just stress this. Man did eat angels' food. That's Psalms, it appears to be 58. LX, I believe, is 40. If it's not 40, it might be 60. Okay? But I think it's 40. I just don't remember. So man did eat angels' food. That's referencing the manna, which was the bread of the mighty, meaning that celestial knowledge which originated at this northern point, at this northern celestial point in the heavens. That's very interesting. Let me show y'all that. See, why would Moses Why would Moses take the people out of that mindset? If it's true, why would he take the people out of that mindset? Y'all see my point? Look at the last 3 lines on the page. Pause it on the replay and read it. Why would he do that? Why would he do it? Let's go to the next paragraph. The serpent became one of the special symbols of this oldest of mothers. That's Hathor, the celestial ship of the north, the great mother Typhon. The 2 great truths of the Egyptians. Now, these 2 great truths, if I remember correctly, I'll let y'all know next time I come on. But if I remember correctly, these 2 great truths are the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. The northern hemisphere is dark, represents primordial things, the Hermetic laws, and the first constellation, the Great Bear. Today they call it the Big Dipper, okay, etc., etc. Let me just say the celestial ship of the north. Okay, darkness, absolute darkness, or the black Muslims, the Nation of Islam, would say the triple darkness or triple blackness of space. And then the southern hemisphere, the southern celestial hemisphere, represents light. In other words, sunlight. Sunlight, and y'all know this is a remix, right? Represents sunlight. Because initially we didn't deal with the sun thing, okay? But represents sunlight, principles. And then the principles was later remixed into, as I said earlier, religion. Okay, so celestial North Pole is where the beginning of everything happened, the primordial beginnings, the Hermetic laws, the appearance of the Great Bear, which is today called the Big Dipper, the other celestial north constellations, stars, and then the celestial south was said to be light or principles. Let's just call it principles, okay? Principles. And then, of course, the light becomes spirituality and what? Awareness and all of these other things that it was remixed into. Initially, principles and principles only. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice is what you stand on. Okay? As a Moor. Clear? All right. So these are the 2 great truths of the Egyptians. I just mentioned that. Sometimes they're referred to as the waters of life and waters of death. But I'm going to have to come back and clarify that, okay, because my memory is not clear on it. Okay, so the 2 great truths of the Egyptians were said to be written. And remember, scholars, this matches up with page 38 of the Clock of Destiny, where C.M. Bey talks about food for initiated Masons, 3rd, 32nd, 33rd, and 360 degrees. Y'all read this, okay? All of this, that's this paragraph right here. Everything that I just said is this paragraph. When suns are standing erect, and when suns are lying down. Okay? So let's keep it going. So the 2 great truths of the Egyptians were said to be written with the serpent, written with Eve, okay? They were also given in the two characters of the gestator of the sign Pisces. Pisces, the fish. So fish, of course, are in water, and the virgin of the zodiac sign Virgo. So two truths, again, are with Pisces and Virgo, typical of gestation and maternity. She, that is Eve, was the tree of life. So if Eve was the tree of life, this is also the image of Hathor, right? Remember the image of Hathor that they gave, where she's a tree, right? And she has all of these fruit growing around her. So this is the tree of life, or pole. Y'all see it? Remixes from the original concrete description of how our ancestors describe natural phenomena, the Hermetic laws. Okay? In other words, space and its origin. All remixes. The fall, capital F-A-L. The fall was introduced when the earlier stars as timekeepers were found not to be keeping correct time. Who found them not to be keeping correct time? Who? Well, we already know, right? Well, I covered this in the last video. We already know. Who was it? Who was it? It was Osiris and his boys. The author tells us on page 24, it was the Osirians. So if I remember correctly, this happened near, either during Pharaoh Mini's time, or maybe 500 years after. Okay? So page 24, it was the Egyptian Osirians who cast out and condemned the ancient typhoon. The dynastic pharaohs. Osiris is a masculine deity. Our ancestors never dealt with masculine anything. I'm talking about the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers before there ever was an Egyptian pharaoh, before there ever was any dynastic pharaohs. Okay, y'all? So it was the Osirians who cast out and condemned the ancient typhoon. It was the Osirians who changed the autochthonous Moors' mindset and put us in a religious mindset. A lot of y'all might find that hard to accept. Okay, because you've been taught to respect these pharaohs and the pharaonic deities. But as we clearly see, they took us out of the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. They took us out of science and technology, and put us in a religious mindset. Now it only makes sense, right? Because how do you have a pharaoh? Kings, they centralize power. How do they do it? By centralizing resources. In other words, take your property. Okay? Take your property, take your birthright. Put you in urban areas. Yes, the pharaohs put people in urban areas. So they started stealing people's birthrights. Y'all see it? Everybody see it? Hold on a second. I had to charge my batteries. Let me make it more real to you. Now, y'all can get more on this. I think I did a better job in my last video, but I want to share this with you. So let's look up cast out. Let's look up cast out. So here's the meaning of cast out. To drive out. The Osirians drove out our ancestors who what, y'all? They had the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. The Osirians drove them out. Drove them out. Expelled them. Expel from a community or group. Cast out, verb. To drive out, to expel. Expel from a community or group. Throw away, cast away. Cambridge Dictionary. To get rid of something or someone, especially forcefully. Collins Dictionary. To cast out something or someone means to get rid of them because you do not like them or what they represent. So it was the Osirians. This is Osiris, the followers of Osiris. Forcibly expelled our people who had the mindset of their ancient foremothers and forefathers. Forcibly, that means warfare, violence. Let me show you. Okay, y'all? Now, if y'all follow me, if y'all follow my work, then you probably heard me say that it appears very strongly to me. Let me rephrase that. My opinion is that the pharaohs were hybrids. They were hybrids. And since they were hybrids, they were Yaqub's creation. Okay, y'all? Yaqub's creation. Okay? And everybody should know what Yaqub's goal was and his reason. Okay? So he was able to consolidate and centralize power to take over and establish these kingships. And then later on, as time went by, they became so successful that they were able to have dynasties, families ruling for a long period of time, okay? Now that's my opinion. Y'all look at the art, you'll see the pharaohs, they look like hybrids, giants, etc. Okay, y'all? But anyway, so that's cast out. What was the other word? Condemned. Condemned. Y'all, I did a better job on this on my last video. So watch number 10, okay? Because right now I'm trying to go through this as quickly as possible. Okay, condemn, verb transitive. Condemn, to express strong disapproval of, to pronounce judgment against. What is that, y'all? If you pronounce judgment against a specific group of people, isn't that called a bill of attainder? Okay, if it doesn't lead to civil or physical death, isn't that called a bill of pains and punishments? Huh? So they used public policy and their courts to terrorize our people. Hit them with bills of attainder, just like they're doing now. Or maybe now is what they told us happened back then. Y'all see what I'm saying? Maybe what happened back then is actually what's happening now. Okay? To pronounce judgment against, sentence, bills of attainder, bills of pains and sufferings. Everybody see that? I'm not making this up. Number 3, to judge or declare to be unfit for use or consumption, usually by official order. Official order would be legislative bodies, public policy. Y'all see that? Bills of attainder, bills of pain and suffering. Okay, targeting a specific person or group without due process. Y'all see it? This is civics, y'all. This is civics. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me see if I can find something else interesting. Hope everyone sees this. Remember, it's the pharaohs who did this to you. So no wonder that Joseph, who interpreted Pharaoh's dream, robbed the people. Robbed them. Right? They used a dream to trick the people. And the people, according to the story, actually believed that Joseph and Pharaoh were trying to help them. But in the end, what happened? The people found themselves in servitude and no property of their own. Were they not asleep in order to accept that? Hold on, y'all. So synonyms for condemn. Synonyms for condemn, attack, as in criticize, castigate, chastise, damn, denounce, excoriate, rail, revile, slam. Okay, y'all? All right? Y'all look up the definition of attainder, bills of attainder, bills of pain and suffering. You'll see that this is the definition, okay? Anyway, let's go back. So it was Osiris who did that, with the followers of Osiris. So what does this tell us? This is happening when? During the reign of the solar zodiac. They didn't need us to have the memory, the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. Why? Because if we had that, we could outpower them. We could outpower them because we would know who we are, which is thought made manifest from the soil. Thought is a function of the mind. We are the fundamental power of the universe. They don't want you to know that. Because with religion, they control that mechanism of who you are. And you manifest the reality that they want you to manifest. But what if you knew who you are? What if you knew that you are a function of the mind, which is the first Hermetic law from which all other Hermetic laws exist, and that you can create the situation and circumstances that you want if you follow the instructions of your ancient foremothers and forefathers. In other words, in religion, we would say, keep the Most High's commandments. Y'all see it? Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. Honor your ancient foremothers and forefathers. Okay? This is the Hermetic law of mental gender, the masculine side, okay, which is nationality. Nationality, knowing who you are, and the law, which is passed down from your ancient foremothers and forefathers. No wonder they wiped away your history. Do you see it? So that you couldn't follow the laws. So you'd be totally detached from nature, and all you would know is religion. And if you ever got lucky, you can get a little bit closer, but the closest they thought you'd ever get was solar astrology. Okay? And they made all of that up. Okay? They never thought we would find our way back to the celestial ship of the north. right? But thanks to Noble Drew Ali and C.M. Bay, from what we just showed you, et cetera, et cetera. Remember also our Zodiac Constitution. Clock of Destiny, Volume 2, page 38. I just showed y'all. Okay, this is what they don't want you to know. This and the Hermetic laws. Okay, this is the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. Period. The clock of destiny. Circle 7, the clock of destiny. One and the same. Let's go back to it. Let's get back to it. Listen, y'all. It was the Egyptian Osirians who cast out and condemned the ancient Typhon, and who changed the star god into Sevek Ra, the sun god. Y'all see that? Who changed the star god? Well, first of all, God, you have to remember this is a medieval term. This is the dramatic deity Odin, who is Woden, who is the modern day God. Period. God is also a verb transitive, etc., etc. But what happened here, y'all? Who changed the star god into Sevek Ra? Who changed the celestial ship of the north? The great bear, the lesser bear, the celestial ship of the north, who changed the star god into Sevek Ra, the sun god. In other words, who changed time, who changed how we reckon time from the celestial ship of the north, the celestial north pole and south pole. So the celestial north pole with the great bear, which today we call the Big Dipper, which is the minute hand of the clock. And in the south, Sirius the dog star, Canis Major, the hour hand. And our ancestor drew a boundary, a circle boundary around that which is boundless. There we have a clock, right? We have a circle. We have a circle, right? We have a minute hand and an hour hand. Minute hand in the north celestial pole, hour hand at the south celestial pole. The Big Dipper is made up of 7 stars. Circle 7. Okay? Our ancestors, as a matter of fact, before let me give me 1 second, y'all. Let me show it to you. Our ancestors put a boundary around that which is boundless. Okay? Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. Hopefully I can find it. Hold on. Let me just start here on page 10. This garden, that's the Garden of Eden, was placed at the north, that's the north celestial pole. Egyptians called it Sias. And Proculus remarks, quote unquote, it partakes of a peculiar emanation from God. Oh, you mean the Garden of Eden and the celestial north came from or has its origin from the law or the Hermetic laws. The Hermetic laws. Specifically, we're focusing on the Hermetic law of gender, right? In its function, in its role as a producer and a former and a reproducer and a reformer. It's functioning in the role of a woman giving birth. Okay? which is this is calling God. It partakes of a peculiar emanation from God. This is the Garden of Eden, the North Pole, the North Celestial Pole itself. So when the Moor stands up, Clock of Destiny, Volume 2, page 38, when the Moor stands up, his mindset is what? The Garden of Eden. This is the North Pole itself, the North Celestial Pole itself. The North that was called sacred. So the mindset is sacred. Oh, do you mean sacred secretions, pineal gland, etc.? The home of the constellation of the Great Bear. 7 stars make up the Great Bear. 4 make up the cup, 3 the handle. The genetrix, the womb, whose 7 stars were the sailors who watched over and ever will watch over the celestial sea. This is the great abyss that's remixed into religion as what? The abyss as in the waters on earth, okay? That's all remixed. Quote unquote, beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion. Zion Law School, y'all. Is Mount Zion on the side of the north. Psalms 48:2. On the side of the north, on the side of the celestial north. Okay? The abyss in Egypt is a name for the north, the celestial north, y'all. And the original mother of this abyss, this boundless space that our ancestors put a boundary around, a circular boundary around, okay, which was space, was called Typhon, the mother of beginnings. Time cycles, the mother of the beginning of time cycles, as well as the mother of gods and men. Why the mother of gods and men? Well, because all of these mythologies about gods, all of these stories about gods and men in the holy books have their origin in the celestial ship of the north, which is the Garden of Eden. Y'all see it, y'all? Everybody see it? She was later made into, Typhoon was later made goddess of the constellation of the Great Bear. Later, not initially, later. Okay? And her first son was called Soot, the dog star in the south. Okay? So let's go back. Where are we? Hold on. I want y'all to see the part that has to do with Circle 7. Okay, page 12. All that was claimed to be obscene and anathematized, all that was claimed to be disgusting and nasty, okay, that was claimed to be unclean, was due to other later interpretations. In other words, they slandered and libeled the great Typhoon, the celestial ship of the north. It represented the naked, this is the celestial north, the clock of destiny, circle 7. It represented the naked nature of primal beginnings. That naked nature, this means pure. This means pure of the primal beginnings. Remember the northern hemisphere was said to be the dark part, the place of primal beginnings? Remember we talked about that earlier? The primitive or the ancient physiological conception of a creative force. These would be the 7 Hermetic laws, which 6 stem from the 1, which is mentalism, and we are a function of the mind. Man is thought made manifest from the soil. Thought is a function of the mind. There was nothing gross in it. But y'all go search Typhon, Typhon. Search it on the internet, search it on YouTube. You're going to find all kind of foul things. Okay? So hold on. Man, why am I not seeing it? Why am I not seeing it? I'm gonna find it, y'all. Hold on. If I don't, I'll just have to come back. Sometimes it happens to me. Like, oh, here it is, page 21. The 7 stars of the Great Bear were also called the bringers forth, i.e., of perennial time. Okay, how did they bring forth perennial time? They started at point A and they made a revolution around the northern star, and that first revolution was the beginning of time. Okay? And this whole notion of time, that's a whole other topic. We're going into that on another video. i.e. of the perennial time. And creations. And creations. Well, there is no creation. There's only a transformation or a reformation, right? Second law of thermodynamics. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. There is no creation. It's a reformation or a transformation of energy. Consciousness is energy, y'all. Clear? So, perennial time and transformations or formations of the first form taken in space, physical, quote unquote, thus time, listen y'all, thus time and space were figured, were determined, were conceptualized, right, as a circle. Time and space was conceptualized as a circle by placing a boundary, a circle boundary, around that which was boundless. Space is boundless. The great abyss is boundless. Y'all see? Circle 7. Y'all got it? Circle 7. The clock of destiny. The circle. Thus our ancestor created time. By doing what? Placing a circle around space. Where the circle from what? Most likely from what? The celestial north to the celestial south pole. There's our circle. Here's our circle. Clear? The first constellations that were formed were what, y'all? It was the Great Bear, consisting of 7 stars. All right? And so what does it say? It says here on page 21, the 7 stars of the Great Bear were also called the bringers forth. Okay, y'all? The bringers forth, i.e. of perennial time and creations. But no, it would be transformations of energy from one form into another. Clear? Y'all see it? This is circle 7. This is the clock of destiny. All right, the Great Bear, which is today called the Big Dipper, that's the minute hand, and then Sirius, the dog star, at the southern, in the southern celestial pole region. Sirius, the dog star, is the hour hand, circle 7. Dang, I just realized something. Look at this. Circle 7. Which hand is the short hand, y'all? Can we have it like this? The hour hand is the short hand. What time is it, y'all? 12 o'clock. Y'all see that? 12 o'clock. The hour hand. I'm sorry, not 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock. How about that? 3 o'clock, y'all. 3 o'clock. Why do we keep coming up with threes, y'all? I'm looking at y'all won't believe this, but I'm looking at the number of people. In here, it says 3. This is page 21. 2 plus 1 is 3. Let me look at 3 o'clock. Let me pull an image up of 3 o'clock. Did y'all see that? That never came to my mind before, y'all. Let me just make sure I'm looking at this right. Hey, where are our numerologists? Do y'all see that? Hold on. Is that not 3 o'clock, y'all? Is it not 3 o'clock? 3 o'clock is an angel number, right? But what else? Hold on. Do y'all see it? 3 o'clock. How about that, y'all? How about that? Circle 7. Flip it upside down. Y'all see it? Circle 7. Okay, y'all? Clock of destiny. This is the clock of destiny. Circle 7. Okay? Now, if this is the first time you're hearing this, or you never heard it before and you've been around longer than me, I don't mean you any harm. All right? If this is wrong in your eyes, you know, I don't mean you any harm, okay? Circle 7. The 7 stars of the Great Bear were also called the bringers forth of perennial time. Okay, y'all? Thus, time and space were figured by our ancestors as a circle by placing a boundary around that which was boundless. In ancient times, the body of this constellation was nearer to the North Pole. He's talking about the Great Bear. And as the tail moved, the tail would be the handle of the Great Bear, and as the tail moved around the North Pole, it was said strongly to resemble a pointer, like the hand of a clock, a time teller. Quote unquote, typhoon in the north and soot in the south were likened to the 2 hands of a clock, the Great Bear being the pointer hand and soot, the dog star, the hour hand. Okay, so the minute hand would be the Great Bear, and then the hour hand would be soot, the dog star, in the south. Okay, now it was the Osirians who waged war against our people to remove this from our mind, to change our mindset from this to that of religion. Okay? And the template for the religion is the solar zodiac projection, which our ancestors clearly was not doing. Okay? It was forced on us by the Osirians. Y'all see it? Let me show this to y'all. Y'all can pause it on the replay so you can study it. I hope y'all can see that. Pause it on the replay. I suspect people are not going to be happy with me about this information, but y'all don't be calling me an agent and all of that kind of crazy stuff. You see it's in the book, okay? So I'm not making stuff up, all right? Here's the information about the Osirians. This paragraph here. Okay? It's the information about the Osirians. Y'all pause it on the replay. Read it yourself. I'm asking y'all, don't start talking crazy about me because I'm bringing this to your attention. All right? Study it. And if you feel some kind of way about it, sit on it. You don't have to try to destroy my reputation because you don't like what I brought forth. This is this book again, Clock of Destiny, Volume 2 by C.M. Bay. He got his information from Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Okay? This is about our history and our heritage. Is not religion. Okay? It's about civics also. Natural phenomena and the natural laws. Noble Drew Ali said the half has not been told. Okay? So anyway, circle 7, and the Clock of Destiny. Circle 7 and the Clock of Destiny. Y'all have to remember that there was no solstitial line. There was no winter and summer solstice. There was no vernal or spring and fall or autumn equinox. All that came in with the solar zodiac projection, with the solar regime. Okay? That's new stuff. So let's keep it going. I'm on page 22, last paragraph. The two northern constellations of the bears, that's the greater bear and the lesser bear, the Big Dipper today and the Little Dipper today. Janice Tellis writes, the screen is stuck. Janice, I don't, it's out of, my apologies, but it's out of my control. Almost every time I go live with this information, I have all kind of problems just even going live. Okay? So, but Jarice, Tallis, be patient. Okay? Be patient and try to understand. Okay, good. Excellent. I'm happy to hear that. So the two northern constellations of the bears, this would be today the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper, the Greater Bear and the Lesser Bear, in the North Celestial Pole region, they're called the primal pair, became humanized. In other words, Jeremiah 8:8, they wrote lies in the book of the law. They changed what? They changed the law, specifically the Hermetic laws and natural phenomena, into gods, devils, and demons. They became human. Now, y'all listen. Human is Han Uman, HANUMAN, Human, which is half monkey, half man, which is the Yaqub story. This is Yaqub creation. Genesis chapter 1 is Yaqub. Became humanized. See, human is a condensed form of Han Uman. became humanized as the parents of our race. Well, this is a hybrid, the author of this book. Now, is she talking about man and woman? I don't know, but let's just see. And were placed in the Garden of Eden, called the Mount, or what y'all? Mount Zion, the celestial north pole, in which stood the tree or the pole that we talked about earlier. Notice this, the fall. The fall was introduced when the earlier stars as timekeepers were found not to be keeping time correctly. So who said that? It was the Osirians, okay, the followers of Osiris. Audio and video. Marquez writes audio and video, okay. Okay, well thanks for that information, y'all. So y'all know that this YouTube channel is heavily censored and they blocked this information. I did a whole video once and the sound was not on, okay? They cut the sound off. So the fall was introduced when the followers of Osiris said that our way of keeping time was inaccurate. And then they began to institute public law and policy against us, called bills of attainder and bills of pain and suffering, and they began to steal our birthright and force people into urban areas, into cities. That sounds a whole lot like what's going on now, y'all. So they were called laggards. They called us laggards, didn't they? Isn't that what they call us, right? The imperfect creations, listen, y'all, put your mind on I believe it's the first law of thermodynamics. Systems go from high level, let's say from perfection to imperfection. Listen to this. The imperfect creations preceded the perfect. So this is saying that the system was, okay, this is saying that the system went from imperfect to perfect. This is Darwinism. This is Darwinian or evolution. Y'all see it? Okay. Is it? Sorry.
The last time.
It's okay. Thank you. Sorry.
And do they?
Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, more. It's okay. Thank you. Sorry about that. I forgot to pay last time. I was in a rush. Okay, y'all. So this goes completely against. Jerry says it's a large statue of Han Uman in Houston, Texas, which is, that's what it's about. Han Uman is the created creature in Genesis chapter 2. Han Uman is the hybrid troglodyte nigger who classifies itself as white. Okay, these are the so-called modern Europeans. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but you get this out of The Clock of Destiny by C.M. Bay. Also, the Nation of Islam talks about the Yaqub story. Okay, it's also in Hindustan. If you understand who Han, y'all look up human in a law dictionary, it's gonna say monster. A human is a monster. Well, isn't half man, half monkey a monster? It's also going to tell you that the human is non-descendable. It cannot inherit land, although born from a woman and she's married. But of course, marriage is a Christian thing, right? Marriage is a Christian thing. So they cannot inherit land. So now you can put this together with the story of Esau, who came out. What did he come out? With his twin brother, he came out hairy. Hairy all over, like a monkey man. Y'all see it? And Esau was not given an inheritance. Okay? He was not given an inheritance. So what is this telling us? So that the Han Uman is the product of the egg of a Moabite woman. So before we were called Moors, we were Moabites, etc. The egg of a Moabite woman, genetically engineered with the sperm of that black chimpanzee, that violent, aggressive one, the most violent and the most aggressive one. Y'all see it? Okay, so in that sense, the woman is his God. Right? Because she gave birth to him. C.M. Bay talks about this. Y'all see it? So he comes out a twin, but he's non-descendable. Because he's not what? He's not thought made manifest from the soil. He is a hybrid, the product of a genetic engineering project, which is why it goes about doing what Esau does. Right, y'all? Clear? Okay. All right, let's keep going. So they were called laggards. The imperfect creations proceeded the perfect. In other words, this is an excuse to justify what? Evolution. But if you know the laws of thermodynamics, you know that systems are perfect. And then they become imperfect or highly organized, perfectly organized, and then their level of organization declines over time. Okay, y'all? So the hybrid troglodyte nigger, the Neanderthal, the Han Uman, the human cannot be the peak or the most complex, the most intelligent, the most powerful creature or thing created, because it was created last. It's bullshit. Okay? The earlier attempts at time reckoning by the stars had failed, according to the Osirians, and that was the excuse they used to attack our people and to take us out of the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers and put us in the mindset of religion. Y'all got it? The ancient traditions and allegories of the Egyptians and the Chaldeans, with their rootage in the far past, were continued by the Gnostics. See, already we're into mythology and religion. Okay? They identified the early 7 stars of the Great Bear by name and nature as the 7 demons. See? As the 7 demons. They reversed it. Okay? In other words, the abuse of the Hermetic law of polarity. It went from being the creators, right? The formers of everything. Everything was good and beautiful, to now demons. Who always opposed, listen to this, who always opposed and resisted the human race. Well, the human race is what? The Han Uman. So maybe there's some truth to that. Man did not accept Han Uman, the human. In other words, the Genesis chapter 2, man and woman, formed from the dust of the ground, who are thought made manifest from the soil, did not accept the Han Uman. Okay? In other words, they didn't want to share the birthright with them. Or maybe they put them in positions of servitude or treated them like animals, which they say our ancestors did to them, right? A lot of people will say what's happening to us is because of what we did to them. Anyway, let's continue. So they identified those 7 stars of the Great Bear by name and nature as 7 demons who always opposed and resisted the human race, Han Uman, because, as they claim, the father of the 7, first of all, the 7 had no father, right, y'all? So this is a lie. They had no father. They are fatherless, okay? Had been cast down to a lower world. not meaning the earth. All that's bullshit, they made it up. This was portrayed in the Bible as the fall of Adam, the mortal man on earth, but its origin was purely astronomical. Now, they also correlate this to what? The fall, as in the fall season. The sun at the summer solstice, reaching its highest elevation in the sky on June 22nd or thereabout, begins to decline in elevation or begins to fall. It begins to fall. So the sun is here, June 22nd, summer solstice, and it starts moving downward. It's falling. Okay, it's falling, and eventually it will cross below the celestial equator sometime around September 22nd, which is the autumn equinox. And then the sun, who now has the name, the title of Christ, gets crucified as it crosses below the celestial equator. And so since that's happening in Libra, Libra are the scales of justice, Ma'at, Christ is what? Justice. So Christ gets weighed in the scales, in the balanced scales, okay? And he's found to be that just one. Why? Because 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of night occur on both equinoxes, which these are concrete. They are remixed into abstract terms called justice and equity. Y'all got it? All right. So that's the astro-theological remix of the fall of man. Man being what? The sun, the S-O-N, the son of the S-U-N, and the S-U-N is the Latin S-O-L, which is Latin for soul. I'm sorry, soul, S-O-L, is Latin for sun. And we all have a what? Sun inside of us. As above, so below. As below, so above. That keeps our body warm so that we can walk, so that all of our biochemical reactions can take place. Okay, so everything that the sun does for the earth, our battery pack, so to speak, our SOL, does for our body. Clear, y'all? And the Catholic Church, through a U between the O and the L, so now instead of S-O-L, Latin for S-U-N, which is the S-O-N, it became S-O-U-L. And then they monetized it and claimed that it goes to heaven or hell to scare you to death, to get you to give up your birthright and your gold and silver. Clear, everyone? Now let's continue. Page 23. Error and darkness had their beginning together. Y'all hear that? Error and darkness. This is going back to the imperfect was created before the perfect. Error and darkness. Darkness is what? The celestial north. Our ancestors. See, what happens, y'all? Light comes out of darkness. Light comes out of darkness. See, darkness is pure spirit. Light is not eternal. Page 14. The Egyptians symbolically named God the quote-unquote Ancient of Darkness. Of this darkness, H.P. Blavatsky writes, darkness is the root of light. Light is matter. Darkness is pure spirit. Darkness, metaphysically, is absolute light. Light is merely a mass of shadows, as it can be never eternal, and is simply an illusion. Do y'all see? Do you see? Okay. All right. So error and darkness had their beginning together. So this is their bullshit. The Osirians bullshit. Okay. It is said in the Apocrypha, quote unquote, that beginning was with sinners. Okay. In other words, the autochthonous Moors, the Moabites, Canaanites, etc., the Genesis chapter 2, verse 7 people were what? Sinners. The true doctrine of the fall belongs to the hidden wisdom known only to teachers who have kept this meaning unsullied. The books of the hidden wisdom tell us that, quote unquote, to be allied to wisdom is immortality. By means of her, by means of wisdom, I shall obtain immortality and leave behind me an everlasting memorial to them that came after me. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8, verse 17. Y'all see what's happening here? I gotta go, y'all. They're closed. They're kind to me. I don't want to make them stay at the wake job longer than what they have to. I'll be back tomorrow, actually. I'll be back tomorrow to finish this chapter up and then go into the next chapter. Thanks for joining me, y'all. I really, really appreciate it. I hope y'all learned something, and I hope that you guys will, that your scholars rather, will share the video to get this information out to our people. All right? Islam to all the Moors. Assalamu alaikum. I, self, law, am master. Shalawama.